Hello, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the very first pregnancy vlog of our rainbow baby. We knew we wanted to have another baby after our miscarriage, and we kind of had a feeling it would be sooner or later. My husband actually figured it out a week before I did. At the time I am filming this, I'm about 5 weeks along. I found out a week ago, and a week prior to that, my husband he figured it out because I was acting extremely moody. Like, I was getting mad at him over a parking spot he chose when we were at church one day, and it like lasted all day. So he told me, it's like, yeah, I figured when you were kind of that mad over a parking spot that you were probably pregnant. And I've had family members say that they kind of had a feeling it was coming soon if it wasn't here already. And so I feel like everyone kind of anticipated. We did not wait to tell anybody. We told them all as soon as we found out. We told the kids. They were so excited. I mean, as soon as like we decided that we wanted to tell our oldest before anybody else knew. So as soon as we told her, it was, I got to get grandma and grandpa on the phone. I got to tell my siblings. And she went up in church the next day. My grandpa, who's a pastor, gave her the microphone, and she told everybody, she's like, my mommy's pregnant, and she was just so excited. And I think that after going through the loss that we went through, just to hear this good news, it's been such a blessing. And just to see like the excitement on everybody's faces, like this whole last week, has been absolutely just beautiful. I think that we are on edge, knowing what happened last time, the miscarriage, and I'll link all those videos down below. But the miscarriage took us by such surprise. We weren't anticipating it at all. We didn't even think that it was possible. I was having a lot of pregnancy symptoms, and all of a sudden, we were told at our doctor that the baby didn't have a heartbeat. And I think that now, going into this pregnancy, just the reality of how much more we know about miscarriage, are aware that it is a possibility. The hope and the prayer is that baby is healthy and well, and that we get to bring this baby home just like we have our other children, but also knowing that we should prepare our hearts either way, and knowing that this is just, that miscarriage does happen. The reality of it is there. So I guess the prayer in a sense is, Lord, prepare my heart for either way, but Lord, please, will you allow this baby to live? Will you allow us to enjoy pregnancy? I know that my kids enjoy pregnancy and watching me go through it, and they're already like, hi baby, good morning baby, good night baby, and they're talking to the baby in my belly. And especially my older two, they really felt the miscarriage. They're like, is baby okay, mom? And so, yeah, you know, as far as we know, everything's fine, but we won't know truly until we get that first ultrasound, and Lord willing, you know, again, this baby's okay, nothing happens. Again, just the reality that that's there. But I think at this point, the joy of knowing that there's a baby in there as outweighing the fear of something might happen. Again, knowing that that fear is still there. I think for this last week, we've all just kind of been, again, aware of it, but also just allowing ourselves to be in the joy of, it looks like it's good news. Things, you know, we got that positive test. I got that test. I took the test. I took it about 3 days after my suspected period, because my period sometimes has been closer to 27 days, sometimes it's been closer to 30 days. I took my test, it was around 31, maybe 32 days, so around 3 or 4 days after what could have been the first date of my period. So when I took that test, it didn't even take a full 30 seconds, and I took it at night, and that test was just bright pink positive. I told my husband when he got home from work that, hey, you know, I haven't started yet, I'm going to test first thing in the morning. And he's like, just test now, it's been long enough that you haven't started your period. And he walked in as I was taking the test, and like, he saw it first, he's like, nope, you're pregnant. And so it basically confirmed what he already knew. But just, yeah, we're all very excited, but we're aware of the reality of miscarriage, I think is the best way to put it. Just the awareness of it, having gone through it, having it been a hard year. To be honest, the fact that I can get pregnant after that has been just such a relief to me. I was worried because I had the D&C, I had the repeat D&C. I wasn't sure if there was scar tissue that would have prevented it or what, because we were kind of trying, but kind of not at the same time. Like, we weren't trying too hard to either actively try for a baby, but we weren't trying too hard to prevent either. And when it took a few months, I started to get discouraged, which really, I've had such success in the past with pregnancy that, I mean, we really didn't try. And from the time we were kind of started getting looser with it to the time we found out we were pregnant was around 3 months, maybe 2 if I'm miscalculating. I don't know. Trying to do pregnancy and period math is just hard. So anywhere from 2 to 3 months realistically. So it's not like it was like this drastic thing, but again, from like kind of what I've experienced in the past with having success, with being successful in the fertility department, I will say that God has definitely blessed my womb. I am by no means hurting to have children. That's a blessing, but I think that I was definitely concerned and a little disheartened, like wondering if going through this miscarriage and the surgeries last year would have affected my fertility. And to know that so far it looks like it's been good and it hasn't, has been such a relief on me. Again, hoping that everything stays okay, and hopefully, desperately hoping that we don't have to go through another one. There's definitely a lot of emotions involved this time around, but right now, truly just living in that excitement that the Lord has placed another baby in my womb, and that as of right now, we get to just be in that excitement. And I think a lot of the battle is just like, okay, Lord, I need to not stress about it. Like, Lord, this baby is yours before this baby is mine. And I think the battle of, is everything okay? Is everything okay? I don't know. And like tracking every little symptom. Is this strong enough? Is this not strong enough? And having to remind myself, I am only 5 weeks. It is still very early. So like nothing's, like though the symptoms are there, they're not super strong yet. Or to know that each pregnancy is different. Maybe some of the symptoms will be stronger or not as strong in some pregnancies. Like, I know so far, I feel like the emotional up and down has been a lot stronger this time, which is why my husband figured it out. It's strong anyway, but I think from the get-go, it's been super strong. My other main symptom so far has been I've just been super exhausted lately, more so than normal. But for me, it's just not stressing whether or not everything's okay and just taking it one day at a time. Like, today, I'm okay. Today, there's no concern. And just doing that each day. And if there is cause for concern, just to know that the Lord does have our family in his hands. And to know that this is outside of me. And if I need to cry and break down, I will. But to know that if I do need to do that, I go to my Lord. And when I'm having moments where I am worried or panicking or wondering or, thinking things are not okay, to know that I can go to my Lord, and I can go to my Lord in what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and that he has it in his hands, and that no matter what happens, whether I'm in a moment where I feel like I'm worrying or when I'm in a moment that I'm happy, to know that this baby is in his hands and it's not mine. And as of right now, to assume everything's okay and everything's going to be okay, unless we know otherwise. Again, praying so hard that everything is okay. But it's not in my hands, and that's just the peace that I need to have, and to know that our God is in charge. Our God placed this baby in my womb, and what he does from there is out of my control. But to know that he did hear that prayer, and he heard my heart, and not only that, but he heard my children's heart. My children have been asking for months, I want to say since right after the new year, Mom, when can we have another baby? Dad, I'm ready for another baby. When are we going to have another baby? And so I knew their hearts were ready. And just to see the sheer joy on their faces when we told them was so beautiful. So the Lord hears our cries. He knows my heart. And I know that for a long time, and I haven't shared too much of this, but I've been longing for a while to how do I say this? I have been in a season of longing, and I've been grieving the loss of the baby we lost last year, at the same time, I feel like I've also been longing to have a baby, to have my womb full again. And I know that this baby does not by any means replace the last baby, because I've been going through that a lot, and I probably could have done another vlog on this. But to, like, I've been longing to have a baby in my arms, especially when the due date came of the baby that we lost. Like, it got really hard there during the month of March, and I may have touched on this in the last miscarriage vlog, but now, you know, like, lately, just longing to just go through pregnancy again, to have my womb full again, to have another baby to share my joy in. And it's really hard to kind of explain. Like, I know what I'm feeling, but to try to say it in words is not, I don't think it's translating the way I would want it to. But I long. I've been longing to have another baby in my womb. I've been longing to grow our family. I've been longing to have this, you know, and at the same time, I've also spent the last, 9-10 months grieving the loss that we had last year, knowing that by this time we would have had a new baby in our arms, and just wanting my arms full in that sense, like having this baby. And now, you know, it looks like my womb is full again, and Lord willing, I will have a baby in my arms in 9 months. And just to have that longing, I mean, you know, I look at, like, the worry, and I'm like, you know what, the Lord hears. And I've been, you know, many nights, many days praying, Lord, please, will you fill my womb again? Will you give me a baby to hold again? And I am so blessed with the children that I have, and I'm so blessed that I'm not longing to be a mother, but to know that the Lord hears my desires to have my womb full, and to have my arms full. And like, I felt it then when I was in that deep kind of like, Lord, please. I felt him saying yes. I felt like, it's like that feeling of, you know, the Lord hears you, and you know the Lord hears and sees you, because he does see, and he says hear you, and in that there's that sense of peace when you're in that prayer. And I remember feeling that multiple times throughout, like, this whole process of, yes, you're gonna have another baby, but it's in my timing. And what that looks like, you know, that's out of my hands. And, you know, I remember about a week before I found out, I was just, that day where I got just mad at my husband for parking my car, I was like, my emotions were out of control. I'm like, Lord, I don't know why. Am I going through something where I'm grieving? Am I angry? Am I mad at myself for losing the baby? Am I mad at the doctors for how my miscarriage went? Like, I felt like I was going through a season of anger. And when I took that positive pregnancy test, it was like the Lord was saying, no, you're having another baby. And I remember sitting in church just kind of praying to myself, like, Lord, I don't know what's going on with me right now. And a week later, not like 5 days later, the Lord's like, well, you're actually pregnant. And to have, like, that right there, like, oh, that's what I was going through. It's hormones. I can live with that. But in the moment, it did not feel like that. It felt like I was just going through some longing. And, you know, it's like the Lord was just like, I hear you, I see you, and I know. And it was like, that was like answered a prayer right there. And now, you know, we have conceived. Now the prayer is, not my will but yours, but if you will, Lord, please let my baby be okay and be healthy, and for us to be able to bring this baby home and raise this baby up. And just like the prayer with all my children, safe, happy, healthy children who love the Lord. And so far, the Lord has blessed us in that way. And with this baby, and however many babies the Lord gives us, I don't want to predict anything. I don't want to say anything. All I'm saying is I don't know what the future holds. But the prayer is for safe, happy, healthy children who love the Lord, who love each other, and who can be raised up right. And I'm not trying to go on predicting. I truly don't know how many babies we'll end up having. But I do know that the Lord hears me, and he hears all of our cries, not just mine, but each and every one of us. Whatever our longings and our desires are, the Lord hears what we are going through. The Lord hears what our desires are. The Lord knows. And sometimes we don't always feel his presence with us, but He's still with us, even if we don't feel it, and he still knows, and he sees, and he answers. And there are times where that answer may not be what we want, and then there are times that it may be. But I know that the Lord, he hears. He heard Hannah's prayer when she was begging for a baby, when she was on her knees lamenting in it was in 1 Samuel, when she was in what was it, when Eli heard her and he said, the Lord's going to bless your womb. He heard Hannah's prayers then. And though I don't struggle myself with infertility, God still heard my prayers. And God hears our prayers, and God hears the prayers of the woman longing to have a baby, and or for the woman grieving the loss of a child, or whatever, even beyond pregnancy. He hears the single man or woman longing to meet their future spouse and to grow their family and to have their family, and to, or the single mom who just needs to catch a break, or the loved one who's struggling with addiction who just needs to get set free. The Lord hears our prayers, and he hears our cries, and he hears our desires, and none of that is without him knowing, feeling, and answering, even if that answer is not always the one we expect or the one that we're hoping for. The Lord hears, and the Lord knows exactly what we need in that moment, even when we don't, especially when we don't, especially when we do not know or understand what we need. The Lord does, and the Lord hears, and the Lord ultimately, it says it there in the Bible, and I'll have to look up the verse and add it in here, but the Lord gives us the desires of our heart. When David had an affair with Bathsheba, and though there was so much wrong there, and there were heavy, heavy consequences, the Lord told David, all you had to do was ask, and I would have given it to you. If you did not have enough, all you have to do was ask. And again, he gives us that. It was, and again, I go back to that verse, the Lord gives you the desires. I want to say it's on the Old Testament. I'll look it up and put it on the screen and down below. But I think of all of those promises, all those reminders, all those things that the Lord does. And that's, when I've been going through the longing of wanting that other child, of wanting my womb full and my arms full again, in that way, I just kept going back in my mind to the Lord gives us, you ask and you shall receive, seek and it will be given. And so it's, the Lord answers that. And I don't know how long I'm going to sit here and say the same things over and over again. I feel like I'm trying to get my point across without really getting my point across. The Lord hears us. The Lord knows. And if we don't know, the Lord does. If we don't know what we want, the Lord does. But the Lord hears our desires, and He hears what we need. He knows what we need and when we need it and what's going on. And, as of right now, going through this whole process where I've been longing, again, just being reminded the Lord hears, the Lord knows. And that's the beauty of knowing Him. I've sat here for 20 minutes thinking that this was going to be a vlog intro, but now I'm thinking it's probably a full announcement video. So if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I do videos focusing on beauty and lifestyle, and stay tuned for more updates, Lord willing. And so hit that subscribe button if you want videos on beauty, lifestyle, and Lord willing, pregnancy. And if not, but you still want to stick around, hit that subscribe button as well, and go check out my Instagram, because I'm sure I'll have plenty of pregnancy content there. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.